Okay, so here's something to think about. In 1916, while the world was consumed by the deadliest war it had ever seen, a small Yorkshire town found its sense of hope and community in the most unexpected place, a choir. It's a story about music, yes, but also about survival, resilience, and the human spirit.
That's such a striking contrast, isn't it? A choir, something so peaceful and harmonious, set against the chaos of World War I. It's like this little pocket of humanity trying to hold itself together while everything else is falling apart.
Exactly. And what makes it even more compelling is that this isn't just a story about music. It's about the people in this fictional town of Ramsden, their relationships, their grief, and the way they're all connected through this choral society. The choir becomes this metaphorical glue holding the community together.
And it's not just any choir, right? It's funded by Alderman Bernard Duxbury, the local mill owner who employs a huge portion of the town. So there's this immediate sense of hierarchy and dependence. The choir isn't just a cultural activity. It's tied to the town's identity and survival.
That's right. And the timing couldn't be more fraught. It's 1916. The war is raging, and the town is losing its young men to the front lines. Families are grieving, and the community is grappling with this overwhelming sense of loss. Yet, amidst all this, the choir is still holding auditions, still trying to carry on.
And that's where we meet some of the key characters, isn't it? Like Lofty, the 17-year-old telegram boy. His job is to deliver the worst possible news, death notices to families who've lost loved ones in the war. Can you imagine the emotional toll of that?
It's unimaginable. And yet Lofty still finds the energy to audition for the choir with his best friend Ellis. They're both just 17 on the brink of adulthood, and they're trying to hold on to this one thing that feels normal and hopeful before they're inevitably swept up in the war themselves.
And Ellis, of course, brings his own set of complications. He's got a not-so-secret crush on Bella, another member of the choir. But Bella's in a complicated spot herself because her boyfriend, Clyde, has just returned from the Western Front. And he's not the same person he was when he left.
Clyde's return is such a pivotal moment. He's lost an arm in the war, and that alone would be enough to change anyone. But then, there's the emotional toll, the trauma of what he's been through, and the fact that Bella never expected him to come back at all. It's this incredibly layered, messy situation.
And then, just when you think the choir couldn't possibly handle more upheaval, their respected choir master signs up for the war effort. That leaves them scrambling to find a replacement. And who do they land on? Dr. Henry Guthrie, a brilliant, highly skilled choir master, but with a catch.
Oh, and it's a big catch. Dr. Guthrie's career has flourished in Germany, which, in 1916, is a pretty hard pill to swallow for a community that's literally at war with Germany. His arrival immediately stirs up tension, and people are understandably wary of him.
But what's so fascinating about Guthrie is that he's not just some outsider with a questionable past. He's also dealing with his own personal struggles. He's gay, for one, and his partner is off fighting in the war. So he's carrying this private grief and longing while trying to navigate a community that's skeptical of him.
And yet, despite all the tension, Guthrie dives right in and starts whipping the choir into shape. He chooses Edward Elgar's The Dream of Gerontius for their next performance, which is such a bold and meaningful choice. It's a piece about the death of an old man and the journey of his soul, basically a meditation on mortality.
Which, of course, hits incredibly close to home for this community. They're losing young men, not old ones, but the themes of loss and the afterlife resonate deeply. And then Guthrie makes another bold move. He gives the lead role to Clyde, the young man who's just returned from the war with one arm.
That decision is bound to stir up mixed emotions, isn't it? On one hand, it's a powerful gesture, giving Clyde a sense of purpose and a way to process his trauma. But on the other hand, it's a constant reminder to everyone else of the war's toll. It's like Guthrie is forcing the community to confront their grief head-on.
And that's what makes the story so compelling. It's not just about the music. It's about the relationships, the tensions, the way the choir becomes this microcosm of a world at war. Even the supporting characters add so much depth. Like the pianist, who's a conscientious objector. He's standing by his principles in a time when that's incredibly dangerous.
Or Alderman Duxbury, the mill owner and choir benefactor. He's lost his only son to the war, and his wife is drowning in grief. He's this figure of authority and strength, but you see these cracks in his facade, this vulnerability that makes him so human.
And then there's the romantic subplots, which add their own kind of drama. Ellis is pining after Bella, who's torn between him and Clyde. Another member of their circle has a thing for Mary, the Salvation Army officer with the golden voice. It's messy and complicated, but that's what makes it so real.
And let's not forget the performances. Ralph Fiennes as Dr. Guthrie. He's just phenomenal. He brings so much depth and nuance to the role, balancing Guthrie's brilliance with his vulnerability. And Roger Allam as Alderman Duxbury? He transitions so beautifully from this pillar of strength to someone deeply affected by loss.
The attention to period detail is also worth mentioning. The production design, the costumes, the way they capture the atmosphere of 1916, it's all so immersive. You really feel like you're there, in this small Yorkshire town, grappling with the weight of the war.
And yet, for all its heaviness, there's also this undercurrent of hope and resilience. The choir becomes this beacon of light, this reminder that even in the darkest times, people can come together and create something beautiful.
That's what makes the story so timeless, isn't it? It's about loss, yes, but it's also about connection, about finding ways to move forward. And the choir becomes this perfect symbol of that. It's the glue holding these fractured lives together.
So, final thoughts? For me, it's a solid 7 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's deeply moving, beautifully acted, and it leaves you with a lot to think about.
Same here. It's the kind of story that stays with you. It's about grief, yes, but also about the power of community and the resilience of the human spirit. And in a world that often feels just as fractured as 1916 Ramsden, that feels pretty relevant.
You've been listening to Movies First.
Available at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favourite podcast player. You can also stream on demand at Bytes.com.
This has been another quality podcast production from Bytes.com.